will now be on the record in 23 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubus. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French.
I know what you guys are thinking. KFAR, why are we watching Anthony, dumbass? He's been in Old Squishy Garner's page 3 times. Well, because he was on Van Balion's channel 8 months ago. I don't know if that was the original arrest that started this entire, dipshittery in court in Kansas. But we're going to watch that, and then we're going to follow it up with all 3 court cases. It's going to be a long video, so stick around if you want to stick around. If not, now's your warning. Now is the warning. It's going to be long. Enjoy. So yeah, this took place in Wichita, Kansas. And if you notice, keep an eye on the Anthony Dubus 3496. I tried looking for his channel. I believe I found it, but look what he did to it. So I don't necessarily know if this was a tactic for court, but you clearly see Anthony Dubus 3496. Anthony Dubus, his name. He has 14 subscribers, which is pretty dope. But he no longer has any content on his channel, and he removed, let me see, back up a little bit. He removed his image off of the page. Seems to me like he's hiding something.
Hi. You got a tag? No, and I'm gonna let you know right now that you're being recorded for my purposes and for your purposes if we need to go to court.
Okay, but you got no tag, so are you aware of that?
Is that your emergency?
It's not an emergency. You have to have a tag on your vehicle if you're gonna drive.
I'm sorry, what's your name and badge number?
Officer St. Vrain ID 2509. This could go really easy, man, or this could go really difficult, okay?
I don't. I want to let you know that I am not driving, I am traveling. I am not using this as a vehicle.
We're not gonna go down this route.
This is a private automobile.
Do you have ID on you?
What crime have I committed?
It's an infraction. You don't have a tag on. I'm not going to do this with you, man.
I'm sorry.
I've got other stuff that I could be doing.
An infraction is not a crime.
I don't care. I don't care what you're going to say. I need your identification. I need proof of insurance. You do not have a tag on your vehicle, so you need to provide that to me.
So right off the bat, Mr. Sovereign Citizen wants to talk dumb shit, and the officer's not having it. This is everybody's go-to standard for driving or traveling. Mr. Sovereign Citizen, if you're sitting in your driver's seat, again, it's the driver's seat. If you look down, does it say T for travel or D for drive? We all already know the answer. I'm really just here for the Black's Law Dictionary 2nd edition nonsense.
That would be if I was driving in a commercial capacity. Can you please get your sergeant?
661, could you start me one? I'm 10-4, he's not complying.
No, that's not the case.
Yes,
I have ID.
You're not complying.
I have ID, but it's not for commercial purposes.
I don't care what commercial, non-commercial purposes you have.
Well, I'm not following commercial law. I'm following common law, sir.
He's a sovereign citizen.
No, I'm not. That's an oxymoron.
Okay.
Black's Law.
Just give me your ID.
Black's Law Dictionary.
Okay, give me your ID.
At this point, my favorite part about calling them sovereign citizens is how offended they get. Oh, that's an oxymoron. You can't call me a sovereign citizen. Motherfucker, it's what your great sovereign citizen grandpappy named himself. It's not like we just came up with a name out of nowhere. It's what your sovereign citizen ancestors called themselves. So, because we're good people, we call you that to point out how dumb.
Black's Law Dictionary. This is under duress, by the way.
What's under duress?
Being forced to, without my full consent.
Okay. Do you have a state ID from the state of Kansas?
No. I mean, I guess that is the state, or that is from Kansas State, not the state of Kansas, though.
What do you mean from the state of Kansas?
From Kansas State instead of state of Kansas, meaning this is from the land and soil jurisdiction of common law and not the corporate jurisdiction that is the state of Kansas.
This is going to hurt Mr. Dumbass's feelings, but the only Kansas state I'm aware of is the Kansas State Cougars.
Building 8, I'm right across from the Pinnacle Loft in the driveway. Do you have insurance on your car? I assume not.
No.
Why not?
I'm not using it for commercial
What
purposes.
happens if you run into somebody? How are you going to pay for that?
It's none of your business.
Just curious. That's why
I
you
don't
have to
answer
have
questions.
insurance. If you're traveling, commerce, non-commerce, any of that kind of stuff, and you run into somebody else, let's say somebody else is traveling, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I don't answer questions.
Okay. I didn't figure so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny that this actually came up. I was talking to Granite Beast, if you guys remember him and his we're all in the debunking community, we're all lizard people, and we're controlled by lizard people. He pitched this idea that, well, you don't need insurance as long as you can show that you can pay $250,000. None of these motherfuckers have $250,000 just sitting around. So then, yes, you should have to have insurance.
So do you have any other form of ID on you?
I have
Nothing
my
with your social security number when you were born at a hospital?
I have my 2 witness forms that go off of my birth certificate, but I'm not going to give that unless under duress.
What is your definition of under duress?
Being coerced and forced to without my actual consent.
I'll cover your VIN number.
Are you trying to see if the vehicle is stolen?
Yes, because
Okay.
you don't have a tag on it.
I can provide you with the title of it.
Okay, hand it to me.
Hold on. And awesome. There's the title.
Okay. Here, open your door. Open your
I'm
door.
sorry. Do not touch my vehicle. Do not touch my automobile.
I'm going to.
So because I know what you guys like, this is the point where you guys would want to see the officer open the door like he did and say, Mr. Dumbass, respectfully, we're going to place you under arrest. Sorry. Maybe a tase, maybe a pepper spray, maybe a broken window. But yeah, that's what should have happened right here, like 6 minutes into the video. But instead, it's going to go on for 20 more minutes.
You're not allowed to search.
I'm not searching. I'm looking at
You
the VIN
touched
number
my
that you-
vehicle.
that's
That is an
fine.
unauthorized search.
Okay, no, I'm not
The
searching.
vehicle.
So
You just did. You leaned into a vehicle. Are you a sergeant?
he's right there if you got any questions.
Hi. What's your name and badge number?
You can roll down your window, or I'm not.
These windows don't roll down. I'm sorry.
Step out of the car and talk with me like an adult.
I'm not gonna step out of my private automobile.
Anything to talk about, do we?
I'm sorry. What's your name and badge number?
Sergeant Cooper, ID number 1882.
Sergeant Cooper, ID 1882.
That's right.
And what is this other gentleman?
69 Landon.
1669 Landon.
1869.
1869 Landon. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate
Once
that.
this officer's done with your ticket and your citation, we'll be on our way.
Sorry. I wish not to contract with you guys.
I can't hear you when you're sitting inside the car.
I'm sorry. I wish to not contract with you guys.
I'm not asking you to contract anything.
Well, that's what a ticket is a proposition of contract.
No, it's not.
Yes, it actually is. Per commercial law, yes.
If his logic was sound, why did the Supreme Court go out of its way to say that states could require you to have a driver's license?
You have the right to take care of it within 10 days. If you refuse so, then the warrant will be issued for your arrest. We're not forcing you to take care of it within 10 days.
But you are forcing me to contract by giving me that ticket when I've told you I do not wish to contract. And this is not a vehicle. I am not driving. This is a private automobile. I am traveling, and I am not conducting commerce on these
I
roadways.
don't play this game with you.
It's not a game.
You
This
can
is
sit
law.
there and talk all you want. Once he's done, he will issue the citation and you can go about your business.
So, by Mr. Dumbass's logic here, he could commit a unaliving, and then when they go to arrest him, be like, sorry, boys, I don't contract with you.
Okay. Which I hope you guys have the forms for rescission on it.
That's between you and the courts, I guess. I don't know what that means.
Every contract.
I don't care to be I
Okay.
don't care to be talked to about your ideologies.
It's not ideology, sir. It's law. It's not opinion. It is actual factual law.
All right. Well, that's something for a court to decide.
So you're saying...
You're welcome to go to the court and fight this citation in court.
So you're saying that my rights are just able to be violated all the time here?
No, we're not.
I mean, that's obviously what you're doing. I'm wishing not to contract, and it is my right to wish or not whether I contract.
You can see it.
And I do not appreciate your officer touching my vehicle, touching my automobile without consent when I was uncovering the VIN number up front. Yes, and I was providing him the VIN number and the title to prove that it was not stolen and it is under my ownership.
So how often does this work for you?
So you see some of the normal sovereign citizen gaslighting of the cops right there at the beginning of that clip, where he's like, oh, so you're telling me my rights, blah, blah, blah. And the officer's like, I never said that. Why make that shit up? And then right at the end, how many times does this work for you? And then the big, yeah, because this shit doesn't work. The next few minutes are going to be him doubling down on this stupid concept.
Well, I've been traveling for a little over half a month now. Haven't been pulled over. I'm just waiting until I get...
On the car, you've never been pulled over? Really?
No. I'm waiting to get private traveler's plates that are non-UCC or for non-commercial purposes that tell you and show and prove to you guys that I am not conducting in commercial capacity when you see it, rather than having to stop me and figure all this out right now.
We've all been in the game long enough to know that if you have a private plate that you bought from Amazon or a guru's website, that's not going to show or prove anything to the cops, the prosecutors, to the judges. It's just going to put a giant sign on your car that says, please pull me over, I'm breaking the law.
And the oxymoron your officer used as a sovereign citizen, it doesn't mean anything.
You can say it's an oxymoron till the cows come home, but the fact of the matter is your great sovereign citizen grandpappy coined the term. So we're just calling you what your dumbass ancestors wanted to be called.
Sovereign, if you look up Black's Law definitions of what a sovereign is and then what a citizen is, they are two different things.
Okay.
I am not a citizen.
Okay.
Just letting you know that.
We're not INS, so, or Homeland Security or anything like that, so it doesn't matter to us if you're a citizen or not.
Okay.
Like I showed you at the beginning of the video, Anthony Dubus took this video down, basically gutted his channel, removed his image. It's still up, but it's just an account that has no videos anymore. So this is a Van Balian video. Van Balian made a good point that just because it's an oxymoron doesn't mean it can't exist. And the example he gave was jumbo shrimp, which, yes, but still yes. So yeah, this guy's logic is still ass backwards. Back to the video.
And can you tell me why he's running code for non-emergency? He also blipped his sirens, which sirens are fine, but the actual code for a non-emergency?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Red and blue flashing lights
Right?
for non-emergency. Whereas he sounded his siren.
To tell you to pull over.
The siren.
Supposed to yell out the window at you?
He used the siren.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah, that's fine. But the blue and red lights for non-emergencies?
Yes, we use those every day.
I'm sorry, you're committing fraud and violations every day then. If you are using the siren at the same time.
You might check your front left tire sometime. It looks a little low.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
So you just don't have proof of insurance, or you have not insured the vehicle?
I'm sorry. I'm not using it for commercial purposes, and I wish not to answer questions about anything else
Okay.
in regards. Officer, Sergeant. Officer, I do have here a intent of fee schedule, of which, if you guys wish to provide me a proposal of contract in the form of a citation of a ticket, I would need you guys to read this and be aware of what you are trying to have me contract to before I contract to it.
For those of you who had fee schedule on your bingo card, go ahead and mark that off. Let's see if his fee schedule works the same way every other soft sits does, or if they actually pay him, which I think it's going to turn out like the rest.
I have here a intent of fee schedule.
A what?
An intent of fee schedule
I don't know
for
what that means.
basically, if you guys wish to contract with me, you have to abide by my provisions of contract as well, which I
I
was.
don't know what you mean by contract.
I'd bring up the course
So-
with you.
Yeah, I'd take it to court.
What the judge is.
Well, I have to let you guys know, as you guys are the ones issuing the contract to me in the form of a citation
Bring
ticket.
up the court for sure.
Okay.
Which,
Duly noted. It's on Axon there, on video.
so are
it's been
you
recorded that you
are you accepting and refusing to see
I'm not
these?
accepting anything.
So you're refusing to see these?
Yeah, I'm refusing to see those.
Okay, then.
I would like to see your insurance though.
And then myself resting him a little bit.
It seems like anytime the fee schedule comes out, the officers know that they're bullshit, so they go full Tony Stark and they're like, I would like to be handed things. I'm not going to take that.
Well, I would only need insurance if I was operating in a commercial capacity.
I don't believe so.
That is the law. Yeah.
Vehicle on public streets. Now, if you were just operating.
This isn't a vehicle, this is a private automobile.
Oh, okay.
A vehicle is a commercial term.
Okay.
I am non-commercial.
Okay. Grubhub? That's not commercial?
That was from prior,
Oh.
which I am not conducting any commerce right now.
No, but you do in this vehicle.
No,
No?
no, not anymore. I stopped that the 30th of April.
Do you have insurance from back prior to 30th of April?
I don't answer questions for prior incidents.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the officer's going to come up, he's going to issue the citation. You don't have to sign it. That's fine. He's going to, if you don't want to touch it, he'll put it in your car through the window and you can be on about your business. You'll have 10 days to take care of that citation. Okay? By receiving it, it's not a admission of guilt, just that you received a copy of it. Alright? There'll be a number circled on the bottom that you could call and set up for a court date if you so desire. Any other questions?
Not from you, as long as he's the one providing the issuance of the contract,
Yeah,
then.
he's not going to look at those either. Those mean nothing to us.
If you notice, the officer caught on pretty quick. What about Grubhub? Is that seems like commerce? Oh, I quit that. Blah, blah, blah. Well, he's only been a sovereign citizen for half a month, which is, 15 days. So we're going to have to give him some slack on that. He hasn't really caught on. At the end, yes, those mean nothing to them. They mean nothing to the court. They mean nothing to anyone. They're basically worthless pieces of paper. They might as well be blank. But again, I think I covered this at the beginning. I'm not sure if this is the incident that caused his court cases that are currently going on, but the timeline fits, and the sovereign citizen, no license, no registration, no insurance, fits as well.
They mean nothing to you, even though they are a contract.
Yeah, I'm not abiding by any contract that you are giving me.
So, if you aren't abiding by any contract that I am providing you in return of the contract you are providing me, then does that not mean that you aren't?
I said how to go about that is to take it to court and see if the judge believes you're
No, your best bet's right there, Rick.
Right, so the cop is back with his citations and hopefully with a tow truck en route to impound the vehicle for no insurance.
Hi.
All right, Mr. Dubus. Okay, I'm citing you.
Now he's going to flash the cop the nice sovereign citizen fake ID, and it came with a great Moorish American style in red ink thumbprint. That's going to be great. These people just keep failing so spectacularly every single video.
Can I have the cover for this? The envelope came with?
Of course.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, I got a citation here for you. Are you still? Florence?
No,
You're not?
no.
Where are you at?
Care of?
You want to give me a phone number?
Do I have to provide
You
that?
do not.
Okay, then no.
Okay, so I'm citing you for no DL, not having your vehicle registered, and knowingly driving with no insurance, okay?
Okay.
Do you understand that?
I comprehend it. I don't
You
stand
comprehend
under it. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to sign this, saying that I just gave this to you, not admitting guilt?
Yeah. I will sign that.
Keep it upside down. Sign it for me, please.
Where at? Oh, okay, thank you.
Is this the vehicle you were in the hit and run with when you got hit?
Correct.
Who'd you call when that happened?
I don't answer questions other than what I want to.
Already. I just saw a police report made, so I was hoping you got that taken care of and they found the run vehicle.
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of? Okay.
I think we can all agree that sovereign citizens by nature are selfish assholes. With that being said, the kid is acting like he's genuinely a kid. Oh, I don't answer questions. Unless I want to. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Apparently, the laws don't mean shit to him. The Supreme Court, it doesn't mean shit. The Constitution, what's the Constitution? All of these laws have been laws for years, decades even. But this guy's like, I don't want to take responsibility for my actions. I'm going to pretend those don't exist.
You got 10 days to take care of this. Do you understand that? Oh, perfect. Perfect.
There.
Giving me your fingerprint too, man. Look at that.
That's actually my autograph.
That's your autograph?
Correct, as the living soul.
Living soul.
Yep, not a agent of the state under color of law as you guys are acting.
Yeah.
Which, do you have a liability insurance number or a bond policy number?
I do not. Hey,
Oh, so you're saying that?
Hey, right back here where I put in parentheses, that's where you need to call or take care of this, okay?
Awesome,
My boss
thank
has
you.
explained it to you, so you got 10 days, okay?
Awesome, appreciate that.
All right, Anthony. So I'm going to tell you, don't drive. You don't have a license. No,
I'm not
insurance.
driving.
It's not. Okay. I don't want you traveling on any of these streets out here that we consider public roadways, okay?
You cannot control my right to travel.
All righty.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you, you too.
That's the conclusion of the first video. This is, again, what I'm thinking is the cause for his next 3 court cases that we're going to look at in this gigantically long video. So stand by for that. There might be a wardrobe change if I'm feeling in the mood whenever I shoot that part. Enjoy the next 3 court cases.
State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubus. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay,
Under-
first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parents satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
Absolutely.
as far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I am not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not
I am
here.
doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it's taped. It takes a while.
So I have a theory. My theory is he didn't want to be on camera because it looks like he has a phone actively recording everything going on.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with that the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus,
Dubus?
as the original Dubus, as the
Dubus.
original French. Yep.
Very well, Dubus.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome. Now, Mr. DeBoos appears in person and pro se.
Correction, propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
Correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with, on August 17th, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. No valid driver's license is a Class B non-person misdemeanor. And that means that if you were to be convicted, your sentence could be up to 6 months in the county jail, and your fine could be up to $1,000. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord.
So this adds some, maybe I was right about the timeline, because Van Balian was absolutely shitting on this guy for the state his Honda Accord was in. So the 2003 Honda Accord. It seems like the first video is the direct reason for him being in court.
Upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxdale Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. Failing to register a vehicle as alleged here by the state is an unclassified non-person misdemeanor. It has its own special penalties of a fine as high potentially of $2,500 and a jail sentence potentially anywhere from 30 days to 6 months. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you,
will
Myron.
then and there unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and fail to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped, but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000, and it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months.
At this point, we're all intimately familiar with the Michigan court system because most of the judges are on YouTube at this point. Obviously, this is Kansas, but almost everything has a or 6 months in jail. Nobody's getting 6 months. This guy, not getting 6 months. He's going to get fined out the ass because he's an idiot. But sovereign citizens are idiots in general, so that's not saying that much. But he's going to be asked in a second if he wants some sort of attorney appointed to him. He's going to answer with some bullshit.
Those are the charges against you. You do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand
Let me tell you something, folks. You can't fix stupid.
The nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is to my belief and knowledge that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
Mr. DuBois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
So in the Kansas statutes, chapter 8, article 2, it's all about driver's license and the types of driver's license and the consequences for not having a driver's license, how to start a driving school, yada, yada, yada. There's a million different A through a gajillion. It's almost as if he looked at that and said, nah, I can't bring that to court. That'll prove me wrong. So the judge laid it out for him instead.
Although you mentioned the word operating. Operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is under Kansas, correct?
It is not under chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
All right, guys, because I like to be thorough, he said something about operate and the definition for operate. So we're going to look into that a little more. He made mention of Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition, in the traffic stop video. So we're going to jump to that, which it's free online, which is why they use it. It also came out in 1910, so it's got some gray hair, if you will, in some of its verbiage. I looked up operate. It came up a few times in the dictionary itself, but not as a word with a definition. Again, I don't know if you can see, the closest they got for this is cooperate, which isn't the same thing. So we're going to jump to the old Merriam-Webster's dictionary. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see it better. Operate, to perform a function, exert power or influence, to produce an appropriate effect, to perform an operation or a series of operations. Oh, Lord. To perform surgery, to carry on a military or naval action or mission, to follow a course of conduct that is often irregular. Those are the definitions. He was just talking out of his ass, trying to make it all complicated because he was reading some commercial code, which is not applicable to him.
It is within, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
Well, I motion and move this court to dismiss this case for the motion I have filed and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor, and so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court. Unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it. By email, which a
and
court
I'm sorry,
clerk
when
said I could.
Okay, go ahead, please. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
So I think it's funny that the courthouse is actually having a ransomware attack. It's kind of comical for me. That's why they can't upload things. But here's the thing that kind of throws the wrench into this incident caused these several court cases. It's that he said his shit was stolen, which I'm assuming it's the Sovsit. They towed my car, therefore they stole it. I'm assuming it's going that direction. He said his property was stolen. In the video that we watched, it doesn't show it at the end, but he basically sat there, waited for them to leave, and then took off in his car. I don't think there has been another upload on his page. Again, we checked, there's nothing there. But before he deleted it, there might have been another upload, which I doubt, so I'm still going to run with the theory that that was the stop that caused all this nonsense.
And my honor, I have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay. As is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
The criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Well, I am going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
In my humble opinion, I think he's going to pick pro se, but with extra steps. Also, I would love to see just competency evaluations get thrown at these people like rocks, because none of them know what they're talking about. They're nowhere near smart enough to know what they're talking about. That's why they have to buy some random guru's packet where they say, "Hey, say this magic word and you'll be free." That's not the case.
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona or propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights, and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that. But
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My Honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My Honor, I don't make any pleas, as I am appearing in propria persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court.
I believe he kind of gave them jurisdiction when he decided to, I don't know, use the roads within their jurisdiction.
I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law, as I am owed the law of peace. And this is a fraud action, as fraud in the inducement from the beginning, under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you are attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty Maritime Law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was
So you guys just watched the last dumb straw that broke the camel's back. He just nuked his own brain. If you listen to his little bit of word salad there, he debunked his own argument. He's like, oh, you have to go to the jurisdiction of where the crime happened, the state where it happened. But you're in the state of Kansas where it happened. To my knowledge, you're in the city of where it happened. You just described how they had jurisdiction, and now you're trying to fight jurisdiction. I don't understand anymore.
I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 U.S.C. 1101, subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission, as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically.
Here we are, folks, back again. 18 USC 2381, treason. So yes, he read it kind of goofily and added some bits, which they tend to do. This is like Vegas VIPs making his own poster 7. That's what he just did reading this in court. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, and he made the point to say, United States the corporation, not the United States of America, because he's an idiot, levies war against them or adheres to their enemies giving aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason, and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. So why he brought this up, I have no idea. It's not applicable to this situation whatsoever. He just wanted to threaten, shall suffer death to the judge. That's the only reason he brought it up.
You are in violation of executing law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir, do you,
case as well.
sir, do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds? Is that still your current phone number?
My Honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My Honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir.
Very
Although,
well.
yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address, okay. Address's iPhone needs to be locked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless, or do you have something more specific at this time?
See, they refuse to put down my address. I am within Wichita, Kansas, rural free delivery within the 4-corner rule 67202, aka the brackets around 67202. And they refused to put down my rural free delivery address and put me as homeless instead because they could not accept it. They refused. Also, Deputy Khalid Barakay, when I was taken to Butler County Detention Center, refused that there were any magistrates at all within any of the courts, which per due process of common law, I was to be taken before a magistrate or a tribunal, both judicial, either Article 3 or 4, in front of a magistrate judge to be decided whether or not I was even within the jurisdiction to be tried for these charges or commercial crimes.
I would say it's my first time dealing with the whole bracket around the address thing, but it's not. It's a more tactic normally. But he brought up something that I'm unfamiliar with, which is his rural delivery address. I just looked that up through the post office, and he's explaining it in the most absolute wackadoodle way. There's no brackets involved. You see this a lot from the people who say they live... Oh, God, they don't live in a county or in a state. They live on a state or on a county. That's normally the go-to for these people who use the whole bracket around the address thing.
Your next court date will be 2 weeks from Monday. What do you have, Ashley? 2 weeks from this past Monday. What is it?
I believe that is going to be Monday the 18th.
All right, Mr. Dubois, your next court date is December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom. You can always appear in the courthouse personally if you like. I am appointing attorney Darren Patterson. Now, if you don't want to use him.
I do not accept any appointment of any attorney.
But I show that you don't have a specific residence. Do you have a job, employment?
I did, and then these actions against myself from the state of Kansas caused me not to have it anymore, which I am in process of finding another one, putting in applications every day and making sure I do my due diligence to make sure that I can gain my compensation and my livable wage.
Well, your attorney is Darren Patterson.
My honor.
His number is 316-322-7700. Ashley, please send him Mr. Patterson, the appointment and the court date. I want you two to talk. If he can be of any service to you, I would encourage you to let him do so. If you have any questions or if you want him to help you with any motions, he can advise you on that. But I think at this point, there is a lot of confusion on your part about
there's no confusion.
And how it works. Did
I
you go to
researched
law school,
more than-
Mr. Dubois? Did you go to law school? Are you a licensed attorney?
Sovereign citizens do not like it when a judge tries to help them out whatsoever. This judge, sweet lady, seems like she's genuinely feels bad for this kid because he has no fucking idea what he's talking about. So she tried to set up like, hey, here's the name of an attorney. Let him be like your standby counsel. Run your ideas off him so that he can also tell you how dumb you are. But instead, he wants to argue, no, I'm correct. There is no confusion. No, dude, you're confused. Take my word for it. You're confused.
It is Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. No, I am not a licensed practice attorney, although that does not stop the common law right of anybody practicing law for themselves, or not practicing, as that is the commercial term, enacting law and being in court for themselves, on behalf of themselves, and to have any form of counsel they deem necessary.
All right, we do have finally a point we agree on, that you don't have to have counsel. But I want Mr. Patterson available to you because you have, in this court's opinion, mixed federal law and state law and other sources of law that don't all go together.
May I elaborate?
I just want him to be available to you. I think we have exhausted this particular hearing, the purpose of which is merely to make sure you know what the charges are, the possible penalties, and your rights that I have gone over with you, including your right to counsel, which I'm hearing you say you don't wish to utilize. But nevertheless, I'm going to direct Mr. Patterson to at least be available to you, that you be here again December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom, and I'm going to continue your bond until that date and time.
So yes, my thought was correct. The judge said as much. The judge knows this kid is confused. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's talking out of his ass. Hey, you said you want to represent yourself. Here's the public defender. Have him help you. Otherwise, you're just going to come back to court and you're just going to bang your head off the wall for another 30 minutes.
So anything else, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois, please take that up. Thank you. Please take that up at the next hearing after you've had time to talk to Mr. Patterson.
Okay. My final thing I want to say is I'm already filing Kansas Commission on Judicial Conduct complaint against the judge. And that would be the prior judge, Mr. Mr. Lee, I believe. And I will be adding you to the complaint as well, as you are violating my due process right and my Sixth Amendment right.
Well, you're welcome to do that, sir, if you want, but at this time, this hearing is adjourned.
What's a good sovereign citizen in court case without him trying to subtly threaten a judge? Well, you know, I've already got this going on against this judge. Well, I'll just add you too because reasons. Nothing he said is relevant. The Sixth Amendment, not relevant. Due process, not relevant in this case. But he's going to try to do something to the judge because he doesn't want to take responsibilities for his actions. It could be using the Kim Blandino, I'm going to try to have, cases going against every judge so that no one can prosecute me. I believe, two people in Detroit, sovereign citizens, try to do that down there. Oh, I'm going to file a lawsuit against you specifically so you can't hear my case. The judge said, yeah, I'm just going to hear your case anyway.
Okay, and I also want to mention that Mr. Regier has not moved this case against myself, and that the witness, firsthand witness that needs to be present to move this case against myself is not present
Your
and is a
arguments,
violation of my Sixth Amendment. I yield.
your arguments are noted, and we are in recess. You are excused at this time, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois.
Dubus, thank you, my honor.
Dubus, I will get it, Dubus.
You're fine. And in the reference to the family of which you are probably familiar with,
Yes.
I am the only person actually being within common law. They subject themselves as citizens, of which I'm not, and that is probably where the familiarity of the last name comes from.
I thought Mr. Regier was, asleep at the wheel there for a second because the guy's like, oh, wait, he hasn't done anything. He's like, what? You're still here? And then he tried to throw this other family, which it sounds like it's his own family, but he wanted to change the pronunciation of his last name because he's not a citizen of America. He's a citizen of yada yada land. On to the next video. I don't know if it's going to be the other 24-minute or like the 9-minute video, but we're going to knock out these other two cases today. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Well, I guess Sunday morning. I'm going to try to knock this out all right now.
We are on the record in 2023 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Dubus. Devin Canfield for the state, the defendant in person, and with counsel Darren Patterson.
Your Honor, if I may.
Well, I'm not finding his file. It must not have caught up with the quick turnaround. So go ahead.
Your Honor, I did talk with Mr. Dubus. I would tell the court that the sum of the conversation, or I guess the end of it, is that he is asking to represent himself. I would, in review of case law, Judge State v. Collins 257 Can 408, would suggest that he does have the right to represent himself and not have counsel appointed if it's at any stage besides trial. And we're certainly not at trial yet, so that because of that, he does have that right. I think he wants to invoke that right and represent himself, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson, he did make that clear to me at the last hearing, but he didn't seem to have all of the law in his proper grasp as the court saw it. And so I wanted counsel to be available to him in the event that he wanted to avail himself to it.
I can report we did have a very long conversation concerning the law, and I can tell the court there was just a difference of opinion about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's as much as I can tell the court.
A difference of opinion, you say? I'm not shocked by that. That's what happens when the public defender is based in reality and a sovereign citizen's legal know-how is based on fantasy land.
I object. For the record, I am not representing myself, and I did not accept your forced appointment of Mr. Patterson onto myself. I am not representing myself. I am in propria persona as age of majority, handling my legal affairs as I need to, which is, again, as Mr. Patterson said, retain and attain my rights, and I shall not be abrogated from them. And I recuse Mr. Patterson from being a public defender for me. And I also want to show for the record that you called my proper case trade name, my given name, Anthony Dubois, instead of the all caps Anthony Edward Dubois named accused defendant. And if I can also have, I believe it was Regier, who is the prosecutor or attorney for the state, to appear and show himself on the record.
This giant head wants. Show me what you got.
Again, I ask for Mr. Regier to show himself and
Sir, I
appear on
heard
the
you. If you'll
record.
give me just a moment, please.
He's treating Mr. Regier like he's a demon that he's trying to summon out of someone who's possessed.
I object before we move forward.
And under
in that.
Kansas law, if you're going to operate a motor vehicle on Kansas roadways or federal highways or county highways, you are agreeing to follow the law that you will have a driver's license, have a licensed tagged car, and that you will have insurance on that car. Now, if you do not want to have counsel, I'll have Mr. Patterson, I'll ask that he be standby. At this time, you want to represent yourself. You say you don't want to represent yourself, but you can't have it all ways. You have to either have counsel or represent yourself. So you don't want Mr. Patterson, is that, or other counsel, is that correct?
Hold on, I object. This needs to be addressed first. Can Mr. Regier please show himself on the record in person for this matter?
Mr. Patterson, humor the defendant, or Mr. Regier, why don't you, for the humor of the defendant, show your picture, turn your screen on. I assume you're the one that charged the document. There you go. That's Jared Regier, the prosecutor that filed the case. He's not the witness in the case. The witness will testify at trial. So again, you don't want an attorney to represent you. Is that right, Mr. Dubois?
I do not want
Okay.
an attorney.
Thank you for answering
And I
this
need
question.
Mr. Regier to actually come on the record.
Okay, now, you're not in control of this hearing, sir. I'm appointed to do that, so you do not want an attorney. Do you understand that you could hire any attorney of your choice? And if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply for court-appointed attorney. Do you understand that, sir?
I comprehend that.
I don't believe you.
All right, that's all
Before
I
we
need to
move
know.
forward, I need
All right, you
to
comprehend it, and you don't want the attorney.
I need to know for the record the nature of the charges, who is the person or individual bringing the verified complaint as a sworn affidavit against myself or the accused legal entity.
As you made that clear, Mr. Jared Regier, you are the one that filed that affidavit, correct?
Your Honor, I'm looking at the information in this case. It does appear to include my name in the opening paragraph of the information.
It looks like Mr. Regier is like 3 seconds away from snapping on the next human that happens to talk to him. So I wouldn't want to make that guy upset. But our sovereign citizen hero here, he's all about that life. He's, again, summoned him like he was a demon and a possessed person. Got him there only for him to go, yep, that seems to be my name.
All right, and I've already told you the nature of the charges. I've explained those to you both at the last hearing and this one. No driver's license is a B misdemeanor. If convicted, you could get 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. No tag is an unclassified misdemeanor. If convicted, you could get a $2,500 fine, or you could get a sentence 30 days to 6 months. And the no insurance as a B misdemeanor, it has a minimum fine of $300 up to $1,000, and it has a possible sentence up to 6 months. The next thing I need to know is, do you want a trial in this case?
Object. I need the affidavit to be produced so that way I may see as evidence the sworn affidavit from the individual filing the complaint.
All right, sir, it is your responsibility to either have your attorney file that motion for discovery to get that, or you must do it yourself if you refuse to have an attorney. So that is your responsibility to file a motion for discovery, and the state will provide that to you. Do you want a trial, sir?
I verbally motion right now for the affidavit to be produced on the record of the sworn affidavit to be produced on the record for the verified complaint.
Now you're going to watch him throw a hissy fit. Because the judge is holding him to the same standard as an attorney, he doesn't like that. So I'm going to make a verbal motion right now because I don't want to do it any other way. It's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. I was going to use the same old ladies, but I already used it in this video, and I don't want to keep spamming that, but I feel like I could just keep posting them saying, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works after any of this guy's comments, because he genuinely has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, there are rules of procedure, and if you want to review the statutes, if you're going to represent yourself, I would suggest you do so, because those rules of procedure will tell you how to get that. Now, do you want a trial? That is, do you want to plead not guilty to these charges and proceed with a trial at a future date?
I need to know on the record what jurisdiction this trial is going to be in. Article 3, equity. Article 2, military tribunal, or Article 1, Admiralty Maritime Law.
This will be under the jurisdiction of the state of Kansas, the District Court, 13th Judicial District. Someone had a comment?
Your Honor, I was just going to say that as Mr. DeBoos has requested to go pro se, he is held to the same standards as a fully licensed attorney. All of this information is available to him through a written request. At this time, I would just ask that we proceed in an orderly fashion and just set it for pretrial.
Well, I am certainly Mr. Canfield. I believe I'm proceeding in an orderly fashion.
I don't think he was trying to tell the judge that she was not doing things correctly, but kind of trying to remind her that, hey, he's supposed to be treated the same way you treat us, and I wouldn't be able to get away with that shit. I think that's more what he was getting at.
Can I not verbally
I'm going to
motion?
give you one last chance. Read the rules of evidence and follow them, Mr. DeBoos. Now, I'm going to give you one more time. Do you want a trial? And if so, do you want a trial to the court or a trial to a jury?
I want to object to the pro se comment. I am not pro se. I am in propria persona, and I'm making that very clear on the record.
No, I was recently diagnosed with stage 4. I don't give a shit.
And if this does go to trial, I retain and claim the Article 3 equity court, and I demand a trial by jury, grand jury of 12 jurors.
Well, you're going to get a trial under Kansas law of 6 jurors for a misdemeanor, not 12. And you're to put that request in writing too. Okay. You're going to put that in writing
criminal
too.
Courts are federal, and this court is federal incorporated.
No, it's not. No,
under
it's
the
not,
United
sir. You're
States
totally out of
Corporation.
order. Sir, you're saying things you don't know what you apparently don't know what they mean. They don't belong in this court. I'm going to set this. Counsel, any objection to setting this for jury trial? He has not properly made demand for jury trial.
Not by the state, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set this for jury trial. You must appear February 5th at 9 a.m. for your pre-trial hearing. And you must appear February 7 and 8 at 9 a.m. for your jury trial. Your jury trial will be, again, February 7th and 8th at 9 a.m.
All right, guys, so we're going to transition from the second video to the third video. When the third video came out at the beginning of this month, I thought for sure, this was it. Turns out, well, I'll let you guys watch to the end of this video. They'll tell you what's all going on. Old Squishy Gardner put in this video the Sovereign Citizen 1 as the title. He doesn't win in court, but with how much time he's getting in between when he's got to be at court next, he's kind of winning.
Okay, we are back on the record in 2023 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward DeBoos, with Jared Regier for the state, Mr. DeBoos in person, and with standby counsel Darren Patterson. Standby because my prior contacts with Mr. DeBoos led me to believe that he, even though he wants to represent himself, there's much about the legal system that he doesn't know or understand and would need the benefit, or would certainly benefit, period, from Mr. Patterson's representation.
You don't know shit, right?
So, Mr. DeBoos, at this time, you want to talk to Mr. Patterson and take advantage of his knowledge and experience in the legal system concerning this no driver's license charge, registration, and insurance violations?
Let me ask first, are we on the record? Is there a court reporter present?
Is there a court reporter present? This hearing is live. It is being recorded. Is someone sitting here with their little fingers clicking across the keyboard? No.
So you're saying that this is not currently a court of record?
This is a court of record because this is being recorded.
I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, she's on YouTube. Well, yes, she's on YouTube. So not only is it being recorded for court, it was literally on YouTube for the entire planet to see.
Subject to transcription at any time.
Okay. I would ask for a copy of that transcription.
Well, when you file a written motion and pay the transcription fee, sir, that will be arranged.
Okay. And Phyllis K. Webster, will you please recite your oath of office into the court of record then today?
No, sir, I will not.
Why are you refusing to do so?
There's no need. I already have.
Let's move along.
I would please like to have that question answered. On another note, I am appearing specially, not generally, under threat of duress and further coercion by the State of Kansas Corporation.
All right, sir. I did take my oath when I was appointed and when I was elected subsequently. Now, what is it I can help you with today? Do you want a trial, a jury trial, or do you want to enter a plea today?
It seemed like last time we had court, you entered the plea for me.
I did, because you would not.
Okay.
But yet what you were saying suggested you wanted a trial, so I entered the not guilty plea and set it for trial. Somewhere along the line, you led me to believe you wanted a jury trial as opposed to a bench trial.
If I remember correctly from the last video, he said something along the lines of he wanted a 12-person jury. She informed him that Kansas, for misdemeanors, allows 6. So that's probably where she got that from.
Had I been making the decision, I probably would have said bench trial. But somewhere along the line, you've made comments to make me think you wanted a jury trial. Now, I have not seen, let me double check. I don't think, Mr. DeBoos, that you have filed any kind of demand or request or notice for jury trial. Have you?
I thought that was entered into the last court session.
Well, I don't think you filed any motion. You told me apparently you told me you wanted a jury trial, but you never followed through.
I thought that was a decision that we made as the court.
Well, you and I did not make a decision of any kind. Mr. Patterson, do you believe it's acceptable for him to just say he wants a jury trial?
Your Honor, pursuant to case law, because there are at least up to 1 year in the county jail possible, if it's ever consecutive, then case law would state that he has a right to a jury trial.
Agreed, but does he not need to put something in writing to that effect that he wants one? That was my question.
Because there's an absolute right to jury trial, he would not have to put it in writing. It would have to be specifically waived by him, Your Honor, and I don't think he's done a waiver.
Very well.
I would be a little curious to find out how many times this situation happened without the defense attorney going, hey, case law says this. Now, I'm waiting to see his cited source for this so I can look into it. But yeah, it would kind of be interesting to see how many times it kind of just, the system was a little janky.
Well, now, before you go to that, now, Mr. DeBoos, do you have any idea what's going on here?
I, as a common man, do not comprehend the legalese that you guys are using together. I can look up statutes and case law myself, and considering that this is dealing with a common right to all people.
Just throwing this out there, driving is a privilege, not a right. Thank you.
Granted to us in restriction of government entities for the people itself. I comprehend that I have my right to jury trial, which I think Mr. Patterson, in his brief support towards this and towards me, towards my right to a jury trial, although I do not fully comprehend the legalese that is going on within the association between Jared Regier and yourself, Phyllis K. Webster.
All right, well, Mr. DeBoos, the point is you do have the right to represent yourself, and you've told me you want to represent yourself, and I've asked Mr. Patterson to stand by, and you've already used him here for this purpose. So here's the thing, Mr. DeBoos. No, let me talk now, Mr. DeBoos. Here's the thing. If you're going to represent yourself, you need to be able to make your own arguments. You need to be able to cite your own law. And if you cannot do that, you have the right to legal assistance, which is why Mr. Patterson is here. And you've already this quickly run into a legal snag that he's made the argument for you. Does it not make sense to you? And do you not want to have his legal assistance to let him represent you?
I do not wish to be represented by an attorney whose duty first is to the courts and not to their clients.
So some lawyers are probably going to jump in the live chat, jump in the comment section, and say this a lot more articulate than I'm about to. But it's not that attorneys have a duty to the court above their client. But again, in my humble opinion, it's they have a duty not to waste the court's time. Why bring a previously debunked argument to the court when every single law says otherwise? Like, it doesn't make any sense to just waste the court's time, Kim Blandino style, or any of these other sovsits from the 36th District Court, where they just try to file as much bullshit as they can to bog down the court. I feel like if it was an actual attorney, they have a duty to say, yeah, we can't do that because that's just wasting everyone's time over nothing.
And if we're speaking on rights in regards to laws and statutes, the arrest made on me by Deputy K. Barriquet was an unlawful arrest for
we're not going on
22-2401.
We're not going down that path right now, sir. We're not going down that path right now. Well, the issue is, so you do want a jury trial. Are you ready to proceed on Wednesday, Mr. DeBoos?
May I ask that there be an extension so that way I may fully research the procedures of the administrative criminal law which you're trying to try me under?
Well, I'm not the administrative law judge. That is yet another procedure.
Although you are in an administrative court under the State of Kansas Corporation, correct?
I'm here in a criminal traffic trial, and I am not an administrative law judge. So here's what we're going to do. How much time do you want this continued for?
30 days or so seems to be a standard.
Well, my next available jury trial date would be October 2nd and 3rd. So
2024.
2024. So that's when I will continue this at your request to.
So this is the part where I told you guys to make sure you watch to the end. Yes. I thought 3 of 3 was going to be it. Turns out we have to wait. This took place at the beginning of February till October just to have this jury trial.
I'll grant your continuance, but that's my next available date. And your pretrial will be September 30th, 2024. Do you have any objections to that?
No objections. Let me write those dates down. You said September what?
The pretrial is September 30th, 2024 at 9 a.m. And the jury trial starts at 9 a.m. October 2nd and 3rd.
Both of those dates?
Both of those dates.
Okay. I would like to point out that the bond and bail I made on this arrest is an unlawful bond, considering that the arrest was unlawful itself.
That's kind of why we're here, no? I feel like you got arrested. Now you're being tried for that offense, and you're already trying to state, oh, well, the arrest was illegal. No, that's why we're here trying to get a jury trial.
Looks like Judge Crum set your bond on August 18th, 2023 at $2,500 cash or surety, and that will be maintained so long as, sir, you appear at every date and time you're required. Anything else, Mr. Regier, we need to take up on this matter?
Your Honor, if the court is granting the defendant's request for continuance, I respectfully have it noted for the record that this case at the next hearing will be over a year in age, as I understand it. So the state is not in favor of this continuance. So I would respectfully have that noted. Additionally, my understanding is that a motion in limine was filed by my office. And if the court is saying this matter for both pretrial and jury trial, I would respectfully reserve my rights pursuant to the same and have the motion in limine be addressed at the pretrial hearing.
That the objection of the state to the continuance is noted. And yeah, we can take the motion in limine up.
Your Honor, if I may be heard briefly.
Yes, Mr. Patterson, please.
The motion that counsel is talking about was emailed to me. I'm not the attorney of record, so I have not accepted service. I sent an email back to counsel, and I did provide Mr. DeBus's address that I had seen in the court system that they can directly mail that to, and I would just ask that that be mailed to Mr. DeBus for service.
So I'm glad that Mr. Regier is in the same bus as us. He just wants this to be over with and doesn't understand why we're scheduling it out 8 months. Also, the defense seems just done. Stop sending me things. He's representing himself. There's his address. Send it to him.
To what mailing address did you send it to, Mr. Regier?
Well, just tell me if you got it or not, sir. Did you?
No,
get
I
it?
did not.
Okay, all right.
And Your Honor, one last thing. I did email to court and counsel the copy of the case law about constitutional right to a jury trial.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. I appreciate that. And Mr. Regier, he wants to know what you sent that to.
I'm afraid I do not understand the court's inquiry.
He wanted to know what the defendant asked, what address you mailed the motion to.
Your Honor, the affidavit of service I have in the file appears to be at an Andover, Kansas address.
Okay, are you still in Andover, sir?
I'm in Wichita.
All right, well, you have to keep the court informed of your address or you're gonna maybe miss more important documents. So can you send your current address to Mr. Patterson and Mr. Regier in the chat here without having to say it live over the internet?
I'm not for sure the address is going.
I'm sending in the mailing address now.
Okay.
And Mr. Patterson, do you have any legal authority that suggests that I that I reaffirm my oath for him? Do you have anything that says I should do that?
Judge, I'm afraid I've never researched that issue, never heard that issue.
All right. Well, same here. I do have my oath in front of me. Keep it handy, but I don't see the need to repeat that. It was good enough for the Supreme Court of Kansas.
So, guys, we've made it. For those of you who saw the light at the end of the tunnel, we made it. Now, I'm going to try to stay on top of this case, but seeing as how it's going to go until October, I don't know if I'm going to remember, so somebody remind me, please. I'm going to go back on what I said at the beginning. I don't think that first, roadside interaction, I don't think that's what this case is about. From what he kind of said in the context of everything he said, really, it seems like that may have been the first time he got pulled over. And then the second time, they said, okay, I'm just going to impound your junk and arrest you. And it is what it is. So that seems like what's going on. But like I said, I'll try to keep up to date with this, but I'm probably going to forget. So somebody remind me. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.